The investigation hit pay dirt when authorities discovered that Joe had been bragging about his exploits to anyone who would listen. While homeless individuals often go missing without much fanfare from the authorities, Joe's appetite was beginning to outpace his ability to fly under the radar. It started with a series of missing person reports around the Hanover Street Bridge area. Social workers noticed that several of their regular clients had simply vanished. While homeless individuals do sometimes disappear, they move to other cities, get arrested, or sadly, succumb to the harsh realities of street life. The pattern was becoming too consistent to ignore. Local police began investigating, and they quickly identified Joe as a person of interest. When you're a 500-pound man with a history of violence who's been seen arguing with multiple people who subsequently vanish, you tend to stand out in witness statements. The investigation hit pay dirt when authorities discovered that Joe had been bragging about his exploits to anyone who would listen. Apparently, Joe had developed something of a god complex and was eager to share his achievements with the world. Unfortunately for Joe, one of these listeners happened to be an undercover police officer who recognized the details from the missing person cases. The officer managed to record several of Joe's confessions, creating a disturbing audio library of culinary crimes that would make even the most hardened investigators lose their appetites. When the police finally arrested Joe in 1996, they were expecting to deal with a standard serial killer case. What they got instead was something that belonged more in a Stephen King novel than a police procedural. He explained his butchering techniques with the enthusiasm of a Food Network host, describing how he mixed human remains with conventional meat to create what he called the perfect blend. He talked about seasoning choices, cooking times, and customer feedback with the same passion that Julia Child might have discussed her. The recordings of these confessions are, by all accounts, absolutely chilling. Joe spoke about his victims not as human beings, but as ingredients. He discussed their various qualities, which ones were too tough, which ones had the best flavor, which ones required longer cooking times. It was as if he'd completely divorced himself from the reality of what he was doing, and had retreated into some sort of twisted culinary fantasy. He genuinely seemed to believe that he'd been providing a valuable service to the community, offering affordable, high-quality barbecue to working-class Baltimore residents. The fact that his secret ingredient happened to be his murder victims was, in Joe's mind, simply a clever bit of cost-cutting and waste reduction.